the first thing you lose is time. You think you're counting the hours, marking the chimes from the Vox Tower, syncing your internal chrono with every checkpoint. But down here, under 30,000 tons of ashcrete and corroded plasteel, the concept of hour stops being useful. Light doesn't change. There's no dawn, no dusk. Just the hum of forgotten machinery and the click of boots on old iron walkways that haven't seen treads in decades. We were 5 when we entered. Sub-level 9, 5th Kravix detachment. 3 troopers, a tech priest and me. Lieutenant Castavan, born of Cadia before it broke, sworn to the Emperor's flame and everything that still dared call itself Imperial. I wasn't afraid when we stepped through the ingress hatch. The brass assured us it was just a missing data. 1 Vox relay had gone silent. 1 floor offline. 1 more task in a long line of forgettable errands for a decaying sector command that was more worried about paperwork than Xenos.now. It's just me and the silence. There's a lie about silence they teach you in the school. That it's peaceful, meditative, that the stillness of the void brings you closer to the Emperor's voice. But down here, silence is not peace. It is weight, pressure. You feel it in your gums, your bones. It presses against the inside of your skull. It listens. Sub-level 9 was part of an abandoned servitor-run Prometheum refinery, or so the cogboys told us. Most of it had been inactive since M41.812, when a chemical rupture made the whole section unstable. Officially, it was sealed. Unofficially, someone had been rerouting power from its main line into the upper manufacturing bays, which made it our problem. We'd barely reached the outer corridors when the first light went out. Not a flicker, not a sputter. 1 second the lumen strip above our heads was on, the next it was black. The kind of black you only get in places the light hasn't touched in centuries. Our shoulder lamps snapped on automatically, painting the walls in jittery amber and casting everything in hard shadows. Private Lexan laughed, said it felt like a ghost story. That was the last thing he said to us. He was 5 meters ahead, checking a jammed bulkhead. Then he was gone. No scream, no sound, just ... absence. His Auspex tag still blinked on my slate for another 6 minutes, moving erratically deeper into the dark. Then it vanished too. We locked the corridor down, backtracked, voxed upstairs. Nothing, voxed the tech priest. Still up on level 5, just static. One of the troopers, Macron, suggested splitting up to triangulate Lexan's position. I told him to shut up and watch the rear. He didn't argue. We were scared. But it was the wrong kind of fear. The shallow kind. The type you laugh off with bad jokes and over-tight grips on your las rifle. Real. Fear hadn't set in yet. It started with the smell. Like old meat left too long in a recycler. But not rotten, sweet. Sweet in the way fresh blood is sweet when it's still warm. It drifted through the air vents with a subtle pulse, like breath. I could feel it coating my tongue when I spoke. Sergeant Vale dry heaved twice. The tech priest tried to purge his respirator. I remember his mechadendrites clicking against each other like restless fingers. Then came the scratching dot, not loud, not even rhythmic, just the suggestion of motion claws on ductwork, talons on metal, no pattern, no direction, just sound, circling, weaving in and out of the static of our helmets. We sealed the next 4 junctions behind us, reinforcing every lock with explosive bolts and auto. We moved slowly, eyes always scanning, fingers tight on triggers, and yet another one disappeared, Macron this time. 1 second he was behind me, his boots scraping the floor. The next, the sound stopped. When I turned, there was nothing, not even the clatter of his lasgun. I shouted. Veil shouted. The tech priest activated his server skull to scan the junctions behind. We saw nothing. Only the corridor stretching on, lumen strips fading into flickering red, and the slow drip of condensation on the floor. That was when I started talking to myself. At first, it was just logs. Standard protocol. I recorded what we found, documented power levels, noted the atmospheric inconsistencies. But eventually, it became something else. A habit, a ritual. I spoke because the silence pressed too hard when I didn't. I spoke because I needed to hear a human voice, even if it was my own. And because every time I paused, I could swear I heard another voice. Not words, not language, just breath. By the time Veil vanished, I was already expecting it. She was ahead of me, covering the left flank. We were moving past what looked like a collapsed mess hall, the long tables still half intact, servitor harnesses embedded into the wall, long since rusted and still. She stopped, pointed at something on the ground, a skull, human, dot human, clean white, no scorch marks, no damage, no gear nearby, like it had been left after the body dissolved. I turned to scan the room with my Auspex, and then her motion tracker died. Her voice didn't come back on the Vox. I didn't turn around, I just ran through the hall, through 3 more junctions, until I reached an auxiliary cogitator bank with enough bulk around it to feel defensible. I closed the blast shutters, sealed the vents, barricaded the main door, and sat there in the dark, torchlight flickering against rust-stained walls, my breath fogging in my helmet. Alone, the cogitator bank is still humming. I've rerouted just enough power from the backup relays to keep it stable. It spits out data like a dying man spits blood, random, incoherent. Security logs from 2 centuries ago, fragmented Auspex readings. One of them caught my attention. Movement, hundreds of signatures, but only for a second. Then they vanished, like they never existed, like they were watching, not moving. And that was when I knew this wasn't just some splinter force. This wasn't an accident. This whole facility, the silence, the power leaks, the missing Vox threads, it was all bait. And we walked right into the mouth. I haven't moved in 3 hours. The power cell on my shoulder lamp is still holding, but I'm rationing it now, dimming the beam, aiming it low. The light draws them. I don't know how or why. I've never seen it in a field manual, but it's a certainty etched in bone. If the light shines long enough, something will come. I keep my las rifle in my lap, barrel aimed at the doorway, finger resting against the trigger guard. I'm not breathing heavy. I learned that early. They hear breath. I didn't sleep. I can't remember when I last blinked. The walls sweat here. Not from heat, it's cold, freezing in fact, but the metal is slick. The cogitator hum has become a lullaby, a lie, a pretending that the machine spirit still lives in this corpse of a facility. But I don't think the cogitator is what's humming. I think it's something beneath it, or inside it. Every so often, there's a thud beneath my boots, like something shifting far below the subdecks. A heartbeat that isn't mine. I reviewed the security logs until they began to loop. Same images, same times, same empty halls. Then, in one of them, frame 113 to 7B, I saw movement. A flicker of a shadow on the ceiling. Not walking, crawling, upside down. The image was only a second long, but I can still see it when I close my eyes. The shape was wrong. Long arms, bent legs, something like a spine but too many vertebrae. It moved like it wasn't using gravity. The Auspex scanner doesn't work anymore. I smashed it with the butt of my rifle when it started showing my own biosignature duplicated 6 times. I don't know what that means. I don't want to know. Either it was broken, or they were closer than I could see. Either way, I'm not letting the machine lie to me again. I tried to pray, not out loud, too risky, but in my thoughts. The old catechisms, the oath of fire, the litany of the iron spirit. But the words don't land. They fall off my mind like oil on wet stone. The Emperor feels far here, like the warp is thick in the air, even without a psyker to taste it. I knew a man once, a vox operator named Durian, who swore the Tyranids didn't just consume flesh, they devoured faith. Said they made worlds go quiet psychically, spiritually, like they ate the very idea of hope. I thought he was mad. Now, I'm not so sure. Sometimes, I hear the tapping. That's worse than silence. It starts soft, like a servitor's digits tapping a cogitator key. Then faster, then louder. And then it stops just before I can identify its source. It's on the walls, the floor, the ceiling, and never in the same place twice. It sounds almost deliberate, like it's mocking me, or testing my reaction times. 3 times now, I've seen a shape in the peripheral edge of my visor. First time, I swung my rifle and fired, wasted a shot. Second time, I stayed still. It vanished. Third time, I blinked and it was gone. No movement, no sound. But when I turned my headlamp to the spot, there were scratch marks on the wall. Fresh, long, curved like talons. And a single tooth on the floor, black and wet with eyesore. It wasn't a kill marker. It was a message. I know what the Tyranids are. I've read the briefings. I've seen the grainy footage from Calth and Valador, and so many places the Administratum redacted into silence. But footage can't prepare you for the smell, the temperature drop, the feeling of being known. They don't make noise because they don't have to. You feel them before you see them. Like a predator, in your DNA remembers what it is to be prey. And still, I haven't seen them. Not directly. Only shadows. Only absence. They're waiting. I don't know why. Maybe they're observing. Maybe they're not hungry yet. Maybe they've already started eating, and it's just my mind they're working through first. I can't stay here much longer. The vents rattle more often now. Something's testing the welds. I know they're trying to drive me out, force me into the open where I can be harvested, picked clean, broken down for biomass. But I won't go easy. I've rerouted power to the service corridor, one last route leading deeper into the lower levels. If I'm going to die, I'll do it moving. Maybe I'll find answers. Maybe I'll find an exit, or maybe I'll just find them. But I won't wait here to rot. This cogitator room is a tomb, and I am not ready to die. The descent began with a hiss, when the sealed bulkhead to the lower service corridor cracked open. The air that rushed out was thick and warm, like the exhale of something alive. My auto-senses flagged the atmosphere as stable, but I disabled them. I didn't trust the machine spirits anymore. I moved slow, keeping to the edges of the corridor, Las rifle raised, torchlight kept tight against the floor. The beam caught puddles, not of water, not oil, but some translucent fluid with a yellowish sheen, like it had bled from a wound in the world. The walls here weren't like the ones above. They weren't manufactured. They were digested. I could see remnants of the original architecture, scraps of piping, steel girders partially melted and reshaped into something. Wrong, smooth in some places, jagged in others. Patterns that looked like veins, patches that twitched when I passed. This wasn't a refinery anymore. This was the stomach of something bigger. I forced myself forward. Every instinct told me to turn back, to retreat, to make for the surface. But I knew what that would mean. Backtracking wasn't survival. It was suicide. The brood knew those routes now. They had followed us in. They had watched us collapse. Now they were closing the doors behind us. The only way left was deeper. I passed rooms that had no doors. Just openings, soft-hedged, organic, pulsing slightly as if irritated by the change in air pressure. Some of them had sound. Wet, rhythmic sound. Not quite breathing. Not quite mechanical. A kind of digestive echo, as if something deeper in the complex was chewing on stone and bone alike. I didn't look inside. I didn't want to know what I'd see. Then the whispers started again. Not real ones. Not audible. But thoughts that weren't mine. Memories I didn't have. I could smell promethium burns. Hear the scream of power blades. See flashes of combat that I had never fought in. Men in red and white armor torn apart blood spraying against walls that no longer exist. And through it all, a feeling cold, perfect, dispassionate hunger. Not malice. Not evil, just need. As if I was seeing fragments of other victims, other minds, still echoing in the Hive Mind's digestive reflection. I pressed my vox grill to whisper a prayer, and it didn't come out. My throat locked, not from fear, from resistance, as if something in me, something not of me, wanted silence, wanted to hear what came next. I passed a wall where someone had carved letters, not with a tool, with nails, teeth, desperation. Just 2 words. It learns I didn't stop. Not long after, I found the Boot. Standard Astra Militarum issue. Size 11. Still laced, still upright, but filled with nothing. No blood, no foot, just residue, black and glistening, at the base. The tread was melted into the floor as if someone had stepped down and never lifted. Again, I kept moving, and then I heard the laugh. It was human, almost broken. Gurgling, trailing off like the speaker had forgotten what laughing meant. I raised my rifle, swept the corner, and came face to face with something I still can't define. It was wearing armor, or a mockery of it. Half a carapace plate bolted into its own flesh. Rank insignia welded to the bone of its chest. One eye gone, replaced with a bulbous sac of fluid. Its jaw unhinged and too wide, and behind it, the shadow of something far larger, something still, retreating into the wall like a spider pulling back from the light. The thing didn't attack it, smiled, or tried to. Its face spasmed, as if testing the expression, and then it whispered in a voice I recognized. Macron's lieutenant, ... It sees you. Then it collapsed into itself, melting like wax under a torch, and left behind only the smell. I dropped my rifle, just for a second, just long enough to feel the cold in my gloves. I didn't retrieve the remains. I didn't check the DNA logs. I kept moving, but now I knew. The brood wasn't just hunting, it was mimicking. It was experimenting, and it had begun to speak. I don't know how much farther the service corridor goes. The cogitator maps cut off after Deck 12, and I passed that 2 hours ago. Now it's just tunnel, wet, twisting, bone and steel fused in a grotesque embrace. My shoulder lamp flickers. The power cell is almost drained. My breath mists again. And behind me, far behind, or maybe close enough to touch, I hear the soft, rhythmic clicking of claws on metal dot. Not running, not charging, just following, patient, curious, like a child watching something die slowly. I'm going to keep moving. If this recording survives, if any of this transmits, don't send another team. Don't try to retrieve me. Don't try to cleanse it, because the brood is no longer asleep. It's listening, and it knows my name. There's a difference between being hunted and being studied. A predator kills because it must. It strikes from need. But when something watches you, really watches, it doesn't move right away. It waits. It learns. It memorizes the way your footfalls echo against the wall. It tracks how long you pause before turning corners. It notes how often your hand trembles before pulling the trigger. And then it uses that information against you. The brood has begun to watch me at first. I mistook it for coincidence. The strange pattern of noises in the distance. The flickering of lumen trails only in the direction I was moving. But now it's unmistakable. The air pressure shifts when I breathe too loud. The shadows pulse wider when I hesitate. Every time I adjust my torch, the tunnel walls seem to respond, not physically, but perceptually. As if light is no longer reflecting off solid matter, but rippling through a conscious space this morning. If it was morning, I found a servitor. It had been partially assimilated into the wall. Not consumed, not shredded, just fused. Its lower half extended like roots into the floor, wiring extruded from its spine and threaded into the surrounding pipe. Its eyes still blinked. Its vox grill spasmed, and when I approached, it tried to speak. The words were wrong, not in sound, in structure. It was as if the machine's spirit had been reordered, its logic subverted. It spoke in fragmented liturgies, pieces of prayers twisted together in a collage of desperation. Holy ignition, flesh upload. I see teeth in the manifold. I should have ended its suffering. I should have purged the system. But I didn't, because for a brief second, I thought I saw my own reflection in its eyes, not as I am now, but as I was, in clean uniform, mouth twitching in doubt before the first deployment. The brood had reached into its memory and pulled out mine. I moved faster after that. I no longer follow the tunnels based on direction. I follow scent, iron, ammonia, the bitter undertone of acid burn. I follow warmth and noise. I follow anything that might lead to something not yet eaten. The lower levels have no signs anymore. No imperial, Achilles. No hazard markers, just spiraling paths, ribbed walls, orifices that open and close like lungs. Sometimes I walk for what feels like hours only to realize I've circled back. Sometimes the walls are wet. Other times, they're dry and cracked like old leather. And once, only once, I stepped into a chamber that sang, not music, not code. It was a low-frequency hum, modulating through the bones of the floor, resonating in the teeth. I fell to my knees from the pressure. My visor cracked slightly at the top edge, and through that gap came the scent of something ancient. Not just Tyranid, old, Tyranid, something from before the codices, before the first contact logs, before even the earliest sightings of the Kraken or Behemoth. I crawled backward out of that chamber, didn't turn my back, didn't blink, and as I left, the hum stopped, and I could swear something sighed. My rations are gone. I haven't eaten in 36 hours, maybe more. The nutrient paste was corrupted, possibly by atmosphere, possibly by design. When I tasted it, it made my mouth go numb. My stomach twisted, and I vomited clear bile into the waste vent. I've been surviving off filtered water and the occasional adrenaline stim. It's not enough. My hands are shaking more now. Not from fear. From hunger. I found a Vox beacon last cycle. A small one, clearly jury-rigged, not standard issue. Old design, Cadian. I tried to activate it, but it flared once and died. Overload, it had been deliberately drained, but for a moment. Before it died, I heard something, not static, a heartbeat, not mine, not human. It was long, slow, thunderous, like a muscle the size of a building flexing once every 10 seconds. And layered beneath it, breathing, rhythmic, wet, massive, they are nesting, not just in the tunnels, beneath. Them, they've hollowed out the foundations of this world. They've woven themselves into its spine. This isn't a hunting ground anymore, it's a nursery, and I've been allowed in. Not for food, for observation. I've stopped trying to hide. It's useless. They know every sound I make. Every time I draw breath, they hear it. Every time I blink, they watch. I walk now like someone already dead, not careless, not suicidal, but without illusion. If I run, I die tired. If I hide, I die blind. But if I watch back, maybe I learn something too. And that's what terrifies me the most, because part of me wants to understand them, and another part already does. I passed a hatch that shouldn't have been open. It was marked in old high Gothic, a purification chamber, one level above reactor shielding, the kind used for emergency lock-in during promethium leaks or site-contamination events. The lock mechanism had been melted. Not cut, not blown, melted, like it had been exposed to something corrosive and intelligent enough to know where to burn. Inside, I found the remains of a squad. Not mine, not recent, maybe 10 men, what was left of them. Their armor was still identifiable, some bearing faded insignia of the 132nd Vostroyan, a regiment that hadn't been seen in this sector in over 50 years. The bodies were suspended from the ceiling, lashed with tendrils that grew from the wall like tumors on vine. One of them still had his voxcaster fused to his back. I activated it, gently. It played one message, over and over, warped and buried under static. We are seen. We are seen. We are seen. I shut it off. I looked around the chamber and realized none of them had drawn their weapons. They died without fighting. Some still had sidearms holstered. No impact wounds. No blood on the floor. They didn't go down in battle. They were taken, and something arranged them like that. As a warning, a display, or something worse, an experiment. I backed out, slow. No sudden moves. The brood was testing responses. I felt it in my chest, a pressure, like the thick psychic atmosphere that bleeds through when a navigator opens their third eye too wide. No warp presence, no demons, but something, adjacent. Hungry, cold. The hive mind, maybe not in full, but its shadow. An echo of the echo. I made it 2 corridors away before. I heard the shriek, not from behind, from below. The floor plates buckled. Something surged in the layers beneath, a sound like hundreds of wet blades scraping together, followed by a rumble that made the walls sweat. I flattened myself into a maintenance alcove, weapon drawn, torch off. Just the darkness and the sound of something vast slithering under steel. Then it stopped, and I swear, I felt it looking up. I didn't move until my muscles went numb. Later, I entered what remained of an ancient mess hall, one of the first built when the facility was still functional. The benches had collapsed into piles of scrap, but the murals were still faintly visible under the grime. Scenes of the Emperor, of terror, of glorious conquest. I found one wall untouched by claw or corrosion, a shrine of sorts. Someone had lit incense there, or tried to. Old candle stubs melted into a circle. A small Aquila fashioned from servo parts. A voice behind me said, "You're late." I spun no one. The voice hadn't echoed, hadn't come from my vox, it was inside. I tried to reject it to purge the thought, but it didn't press. It simply lingered, like a scent on old cloth. I backed away from the shrine. I didn't touch it, not because I feared it, but because I knew now that even this moment of faith was part of the experiment. The hive mind wasn't hunting me, it was wearing me, trying me on, seeing how long a man could last in isolation, in terror, before something inside him began to shift. And once it learned that, what else might it learn? I think of Veil, of Macron, of Lexon. How long were they watched before they vanished? What did the brood see in them? What did it keep? And why is it still watching me? Because I'm not a threat. Not anymore. I'm something else. A mirror. And they want to see what breaks first, the flesh or the soul. I no longer know if I am the last, but I know I'm the only one still moving. The tunnels breathe slower now. The rhythm of the environment has changed, like whatever intelligence controls. This place has grown patient, confident. I've walked into a new section of the substructure, one not on any data slate or station schematic. The design is partially human, partially something else. Vaulted ceilings, half devoured by chitinous growths, rusted lighting panels embedded in what now looks like bone. The glow they give off isn't lumen. It's biological phosphorescence, sickly green and soft like fungus light. My boots stick faintly to the floor, which has grown slick with some kind of mucus. It clings to the soles, pulls faintly, as though unwilling to let go. My gait is altered now, cautious but not stumbling. I stopped running 2 days ago, or what I think were days. Time bends differently underground. Without cycles, you lose the tether. You become part of the system you're trapped in. That may be what they want to make me part of this, a system, a process. I found what might have been a Medicaid ward once. The signs were still partially visible, flaking white paint spelling out triage in low Gothic above a warped steel arch. Inside, beds fused to the floor, walls pulsing with digestive contractions, flesh grown over Medicaid gear. The stench was unbearable, even through filtration. And at the far end, a figure stood motionless. Staring into the wall, I raised my weapon, whispered for ID, no response. I circled wide, it didn't move. Closer inspection revealed It wasn't alive, not anymore. A guardsman, his chest cavity opened like a hatch, contents scooped clean. His spine had been threaded with fibrous growths, his head tilted at a precise angle, lips parted in a permanent gasp, and inside his helmet, scratched into the visor with something sharp and deliberate, were words I cannot forget. If you look back, it comes. I haven't turned round since. I walk now with my back, 2 walls, or 2 corners. I sleep in cradled metal niches where no path exists behind me. I eat nothing. I drink what little filtered condensation I can scrape off ruined pipes. I conserve power, cycle my helmet lights in flickers. It doesn't matter. They see in heat, in motion, in fear. When I stopped fearing, they came closer. That's what confirmed it. They don't just feed on flesh. They feed on emotion. Or at least, they read it. I've seen things that aren't mine. Visions not from dreams, but from memory. Memories of lives I've never lived. One moment I am in the tunnel. The next, I'm holding a child. A girl with red eyes and pale skin. She says father and vanishes in flame. Another time, I'm standing in a command pulpit above an orbital bombardment. My voice booming with authority I never possessed. I think they are showing me these things. Not as torture, but as possibility. They are testing how human I still am. What I want, what I mourn, what might break me if shown to. Much. I remember Jurian's voice again, that old vox operator who once said the Tyranids don't just eat biology. They eat meaning. They consume what makes us ourselves, and leave the shape behind. He said he saw a creature once, wearing his mother's face. He never returned from that patrol. Maybe he walked willingly into their arms. I understand that temptation now to stop walking, to give them what they want. So they stop watching, but I can't, because something deep in my bones, something old, stubborn, Cadian tells me that if I stop, I'll never be me again. I won't die. I'll just change. And whatever walks away from that moment won't be imperial. It won't be a man, it'll be a mask. And I'd rather rot alone in this hellhole than become a mask that smiles with my voice. The watching hasn't stopped, but neither have I not yet. The walls breathe now, not in metaphor, not illusion. They actually expand and contract in slow, wet rhythms. I timed them, 1 breath every 30 seconds, each one exhaling a mist of warm, moist air that beads across the inner surface of my visor. When the breath rolls past, the air smells faintly of copper and rot, with a sweetness that clings to the back of the throat like syrup turned rancid. I am no longer in a tunnel. I am in a digestive tract, not metaphorically, physically. The environment has changed completely. What was once steel and stone now pulses with living tissue. The floor is spongy, ridged with folds like muscle. The ceiling is a mix of chitin and sinew, curved and vascular. And the sounds, they don't stop. Wet clicks, muscle contractions, fluids shifting from unseen sacs into deeper passageways. The deeper I move, the more I feel like I'm inside something that should never have been born. This isn't just the infestation of a facility, this is a construction, a design, something in the brood created this place not as a nest, but as an engine, a process, and I am walking through it. While it works, my boots leave prints in the tissue. They fill in behind me. It's not a fast reaction. It doesn't snap shut or pull like a trap. It simply removes the evidence. Within minutes, the path is whole again, unbroken, like I was never there. I tested it once, drew a mark in the floor with my knife, waited, watched. 97 seconds later, it healed. Not like flesh, like intent, as if the space itself didn't want to be remembered. That was when I stopped keeping maps. I've entered a new zone, one with no logic, no pattern of corridors or access points. The shapes are more organic now, with branches and sphincter-like doorways that open or close based on mood. I say that word deliberately, because I no longer believe this place is passive. It reacts. When I hesitate, the passage narrows. When I walk with confidence, the light grows brighter. When I try to run, I hear the beating again. Not a heart, a drum, like bone and sinew being struck in steady rhythm, echoing through miles of hollow flesh. The same pattern again and again, as if something is calling out from far away or answering something deeper still. I haven't seen a Tyranid in 2 days. That worries me more than anything. The first time I saw one up close, truly close, it didn't move. It was hanging from the ceiling, embedded in a sack of pulsing fluid, its claws twitching as if dreaming. The eye ridges tracked me, just barely. I don't think it was asleep. I think it was waiting. I passed under it, quiet still. It let me go. That's when I realized I'm not a target anymore. Not an invader. I've passed into something else. Something less threatening, or more useful, a test subject. Or perhaps a message, because today I found a mirror. Not a literal one, a reflection. A polished panel of hardened resin, shaped and curved like a viewport. I looked into it and saw myself standing across from me, not distorted, not mutated, just calm, clean, wearing armor that gleamed unbroken, eyes blank, expression neutral, and behind the other me, the silhouette of something massive, wings folded, tail coiled, a being of bone and muscle, impossibly silent, standing sentinel, just out of focus. I looked away when I looked back. It was gone, the mirror, the figure, all of it. I turned in a full circle, scanned the space, ran Uzbek's checks. Nothing, but something inside me changed, a shift, like the drop in pressure before a storm, like the silence before a scream, like something had marked me. And I had now crossed a threshold I hadn't known existed, and from that moment forward, the place began to respond. The tunnels widened, the lights grew dimmer, the breath grew louder, as if the body I now walk inside had become aware, not of me as an enemy, but as a carrier. I walked into a chamber that pulsed with life. No, not life, process. That's what this is. The brood doesn't build architecture. It builds functions. Every wall in this place has a purpose: to digest, to feed, to shelter, to birth. I stepped into a space wider than any hab bay I'd seen since the void docks over Vesta Tyrannis. But there were no walls here, only layers of veined membranes stretched in every direction, slick with fluid, echoing with the sound of internal activity. It was warm, not the warmth of heat exchangers or promethium turbines, the warmth of flesh, of body heat spreading through tissue to keep it pliable, ready for something. And in the center of the chamber, a pool, circular still lined with that same amber resin used to cocoon bodies or armor, or whatever they wished to study. I stood at its edge for a long time. It didn't move. No ripple, no sound. I dropped a bolt casing into it, The surface absorbed it like skin, and then it showed me myself. No reflection. Not this time, it projected onto the curved wall beyond. Shapes formed in bioluminescent strands, my movements, my face, even the rhythm of my breath, like an echo rendered in light. I turned my head, the image followed. I raised my hand, it mirrored. I spoke. The wall rippled, absorbing the frequency, reshaping the strands. Lieutenant Castavan, it said my name. From inside the wall, not in my voice, not in any voice I knew. It didn't come from a mouth. It came from everywhere, ambient, cellular. The brood wasn't mimicking anymore. It was rehearsing, practicing, testing out what it would be like to wear my name, my shape, my tone. I fired, instinct, panic, defiance, I don't know. My lasbolt seared into the wall and burned a hole the size of my hand. It closed in seconds. The voice didn't return. The image faded, but the message remained. I had been measured, weighed, and now they knew how to imitate not just my body, but my identity. That's when I started to lose time. I found myself walking corridors I didn't remember entering, standing in chambers I couldn't recall leaving. Once, I woke mid-step, as if the time between lift and landing had been erased. My finger was on the trigger. My heart was steady, but my mind had gone elsewhere. And that's when I realized something had followed me in, not a Tyranid, not a creature, an idea, a tendril of something vast and unseen had slipped through the cracks in my thoughts, and now it rode inside my memory, rewriting pieces of me when I wasn't watching. I tried to leave, backtrack, retrace my steps, but every corridor had changed, landmarks gone, shapes different. Even the gravity shifted ever so slightly, like the environment was testing tolerances. My legs ached differently, my spine compressed. I tasted metal every time I breathed. I stopped marking walls. They absorbed the marks. I stopped speaking. The echo had changed pitch. And worst of all, I stopped dreaming. I used to see fragments when I slept. Faces, memories, fragments of home. Now my sleep is silent. Void, no color, no thought. I think they've taken my dreams, stored them, analyzed them, discarded them. There is no longer a difference between what I fear and what they understand. The deeper I go, the more I feel anticipated, as if the path ahead of me isn't random, but scripted. As if I'm walking a trail they left for me, to see how long I would take to notice. I don't know what happens when I reach the end, but I think I'm getting close. The air changed. It thickened. Not in the way of humidity or heat, but with density. Like every breath I drew was inhaling meaning, not oxygen. As if the very molecules were saturated with intent. I passed through a membrane that peeled open at my approach, slick with some bioluminescent fluid that glowed sickly yellow and pulsed with a low, wet heartbeat. On the other side, the tunnel narrowed, not enough to prevent entry, but enough to force surrender. I had to crouch, bow my head, press my shoulders inward. Submission, deliberate or not, was required to pass. That's when the voices began. At first it was background noise. Garbled wet whispers, like vox recordings passed through boiling liquid. But then they started using language. Familiar terms. Not Gothic. Not even speech. Just concepts, direct injections of meaning into my skull. I couldn't stop them. I couldn't block them. They slid into the folds of my memory like thoughts I'd forgotten. Had, father, failure, food, function, flesh. It was a taxonomy, not of prey, of me, of what I had been, what I was. Becoming, I collapsed. I don't remember falling, but I remember the moment my helmet struck the floor, the impact echoing in the meat of the passage like thunder inside a body. I lay there, breathing through clenched teeth, las rifle held tight against my chest like a relic. I don't know how long I stayed still. Time meant nothing. Movement meant everything. When I arose, the tunnel had changed again. No longer organic. Not entirely. Metal had returned. Imperial plating, twisted and reshaped into a grotesque mimicry of a command deck. Vox relays embedded into fleshy sockets. Cogitator screens displaying static nested in bone. At the center stood a dais. On it, a throne. But not for a man. For something else. It was made of skulls and carapace fragments. Melted armor plating fused into a half circle of claws. The scent of incense still lingered. Real, human incense. Not old, recent. And on the floor, laid perfectly at the foot of the throne, was a single data-dash slate. It bore the sigil of the Inquisition. I shouldn't have touched it, but I did. Its contents were brief, fragmented, corrupted. If this record survives, know this, the brood here is evolving, not just adapting to threats. It is building a language, a way to mimic thought, not instinct, not reflex. Strategy. It is becoming something new, something not yet classified. Its center is... The last word had been burned out, melted clean through the slate.I. Dropped it, it shattered. And that's when I heard the sound I fear most. My own voice, calling from deeper in the structure. Not echo, not memory, not mimicry, not mimicry. Live it, said my name. The way I say it, with my cadence, my tone, my breathing rhythm. And then, it laughed just once, short, human. I should have run. I should have burned the whole place with whatever charge I had left. But I walked forward, because at that moment, I realized the truth. The brood hadn't trapped me here to consume me. It had invited me here to become something, and part of me wanted to know what. I remember the first time I fired a lasgun. I was 12. My hands were too small for the grip. The recoil surprised me, even though they said it wouldn't. I missed the target. A dummy rigged up in the training yards of Cadoran barracks. But I remember the sound. That crisp, snapping burn that cut through the air like it had always been waiting to exist. Now, when I hear that sound in my memory, it feels like it's coming from outside me. Like I didn't live it, like I'm watching someone else live it through my eyes. That's what it feels like to have your mind become a room in something else's house. The brood has stopped, showing me horror. That was the last phase. Fear, panic, isolation now. It's showing me comfort, and that's worse. I awoke, I think I slept, curled at the base of the false throne in the mock command chamber. There was no pain, no hunger. My systems told me I hadn't moved in 12 hours. I had no memory of that time. My helmet had been removed, placed gently beside me. The air was breathable, warm, clean. I was clean. My armor had been polished, the filth scrubbed away, the dents softened. None of it made sense. And then the wall opened. Not violently, no roar, no rupture, just a soft parting, like lungs exhaling. And I was guided, gently, into what I can only call a sanctum. A cathedral made of bone and resin, chitin arches, pulpit made from skulls, illumination cast not from flame or filament, but from glowing sacs embedded high above, pulsing with fluid and light. And in the center, a node, a pulsating mass of neural tissue, the size of a rhino transport, suspended in membranes, twitching with energy. Not biological energy, psychic. I approached it. Without meaning to, my legs moved before my thoughts, and then I felt it. Not a voice, not a presence, an overlap. My thoughts were not alone. They drifted, floated, were caught in something vast, like leaves swept into an ocean current. I tried to pull away, but I wasn't hooked. I was already part of it. The hive mind didn't speak. It understood. I felt its attention, the way one feels. Gravity, inevitable, indifferent, total. It didn't care about me. Not as an individual, not even as food. I was a pattern, a concept, a noise in its great chorus of consumption. And then something changed. It hesitated, focused not the whole. Mind that would be madness, but a splinter, a shade, some fragment of will that recognized me not as one of many, but as a mirror. And then the visions began. Not flashes, lived lives. I became them dozens, maybe hundreds. Soldiers, medicae, engineers, a hive world magistrate standing on a balcony as spores rained from orbit, a priest holding his hands out to a crowd moments before the roof caved in, a navigator screaming as her third eye opened inside the warp, and saw a god she couldn't describe. Every vision finished the same. Silence. Absorption. End. I wasn't meant to see these. I was being shown them as a gift, as a threat. As an offer. I felt my knees hit the ground, not out of reverence, out of exhaustion, because what stared back at me from that neural node wasn't evil. It was truth. The Tyranids do not hate. They do not choose. They do not judge. They replace. And now they are learning how to replace us. Not just flesh. Not just instinct. Identity. They don't want to just feed on our biomass anymore. They want to wear our dreams. When I came to, I was alone again. The sanctum was gone, or had never existed. Around me, the tunnels were plain once more. Not clean, but featureless. The resin had hardened into dull bone. The air was cold. My helmet was back on. My weapon was still in my hand, but I wasn't the same. Something had come back with me, a residue. Not a thought, but a sensation. I couldn't name it, but it pulsed behind my eyes. A dull rhythm like blood pounding against glass. Every time I blinked, I saw it. Not a shape, but a feeling, the pattern. I can't explain it fully, only that it's everywhere now. In the curve of the corridors, in the pulse of the walls, in the silence between sounds. A kind of echo, like the whisper of something thinking just out of range. Not watching, not stalking, just being. Present. And now. I can't stop hearing it, even through the helmet, even through thought, not with ears. With memory, the hive mind, or whatever tendril of it I've touched, is inside me now, not physically. I've run the bioscans, no foreign growths, no infection, but it's learning my thought rhythms, my fears, my priorities. My structure. It doesn't need to dominate to destroy. It needs only to understand. And as I walk, it rewards me. That's the only word I can use. It gives me things: warmth when I grow cold, dryness when my boots fill with fluid. The path I take is smoother now, less treacherous. No more low-hanging sacks or tendrils to step over. No tight corridors. No need to crawl. My route is being made for me, like the interior of a temple adjusting for a supplicant's stride. And then I find it, a shrine. Real, this time. Not an imperial one, a Tyranid shrine. If such a thing can exist, it's formed of corpses. Dozens of them arranged, not in piles, but in patterns. Spirals, loops, curves. None are recent. The decay is uniform. The clothing is gone, but the bodies are posed, kneeling, arms raised, mouths open as if they were singing. At the center is a creature I can't identify, too large to be a Hormigaunt, too small to be a Carnifex. 4 legs, no visible eyes, and a mouth frozen mid-scream. Embedded into its chest is a broken Rosarius, and I know, without question, that it used to be a man, that this is what happens when the hive mind does not consume, when it converts. I stare at the figure and feel no revulsion, only calm, and that terrifies me more than anything else, because it means the part of me that still recognizes horror is going quiet. I record a log, not for command, not for survival, just for proof. A record of change. I speak slowly, clearly, describe what I see. I describe the pattern, the bodies, the smell, and then I play it back. My voice is not my own, it's my cadence, my pitch, but something in the inflection has shifted, like a translator repeating what I said a fraction of a second after I said it, like I'm being ventriloquized by something that already knew what I would say. I delete the recording. Not out of fear, out of shame, because I listened to it twice, and part of me agreed with its version of me that night, or whatever cycle this place uses. I see something in my dreams, not memory, not hallucination, a possibility. I see myself walking on a battlefield, leading a column of guardsmen. They look at me with reverence. I shout orders. I raise my fist. My voice is strong, my back straight. But when I turn to look at my own reflection in the shattered visor of a fallen enemy, it's not me, it's something wearing my face, with my smile, with no soul behind the eyes. I woke up screaming, but no sound came out, because somewhere, deep inside, I knew, the mind is still dreaming through me. I haven't spoken in hours, not aloud, not even in thought. It's the only defense I have left. If I let words form in my mind, even silently, even as whispers between neurons, the brood listens. I don't know how, but I feel it. A tightening in the jaw, a shift in the pressure behind my eyes. Like thought itself has become a signal, and every intention is met with attention. So I move without names, without commands. I do not narrate my steps. I do not think of places or people. I reduce myself to movement, heat, weight, a creature, nothing more. And that seems to work. The tunnels no longer shift when I walk. The walls remain still, but there is something new now. Not silence, not threat, invitation. I've entered a place the brood has prepared. Not haphazardly, not by instinct. Deliberately, the shapes of the corridor have grown architectural. Columns formed of bone stalks and spines. Flooring laid with chitin tile. Carvings not etched by tool. but formed by growth patterns like neural circuits and crop circles, layered over one another until meaning bleeds from geometry. It is not decoration, it is instruction, a map I cannot read, but somehow feel. My body moves toward its center like a pendulum answering gravity. I can't stop. I don't want to stop, because I have to know what waits. At the end of the path is a vault, no door. Just a mouth, an enormous opening, rimmed with teeth that do not bite, but pulse with anticipation. I cross the threshold, and I see it. Not a creature, not a god, not a brain, an idea, manifested in form, suspended above the chamber floor, encased in translucent sac and psychic aura. Its shape shifts, a swarm, a spiral, a face mine, then not. The room spins around it, orbiting like flesh-bound satellites. And all the while, the sense of presence deepens. The hive not as an army, but as a consciousness that extends into eternity. And then it speaks again, not in sound, in recognition. It remembers me, every motion, every breath, every doubt, every act of defiance. It plays them back not like recordings, but like artifacts it has tasted, relived, rewritten. I see myself from outside myself, younger, older, triumphant, broken. I see versions of me that never existed, and it shows me a future. I see myself surrounded by others, survivors. I am leading them. My voice is calm, firm, wise. We move through ruins. We rebuild. We hold the line. I am no longer afraid, but then the scene widens, and I see my hands. They are wrong, too smooth, too pale, veins that pulse blue and green, fingernails that retract, skin that remembers every wound but shows none. I see my face, and the smile on it is not mine. The hive shows me not my death, but my succession. I am not to be consumed. I am to be remade. They've taken others before. They've broken minds, hollowed out voices. But with me, they've done something new. They've learned to build forward, not mimic, become, and the worst part, the part that breaks whatever remains of the man called Castavan, is that for a moment, I feel hope, hope in the pattern, hope in the design, hope in the calm of not choosing, not fearing, not resisting, hope that feels like freedom but isn't. I fall to my knees and I scream, for real this time. No restraint, no helmet, no filter, just raw human horror, because now I know. The hive mind doesn't just want to eat us, it wants to make us love it first.